All Might recognizes Stain and says that he couldn't talk to him on Tartarus as he wanted, but Stain doesn't know what he's talking about. All Might then realizes that he must not know about his thin form and introduces himself. So we got the spoilers early this week, and this chapter seems like it's going to be incredible, so let's get into it. The chapter begins with All Might driving his car while remembering his last conversation with Deku. He goes to Kamino where the Deku vs. Class A took place and sees part of his mask laying on the ground. So the part of the mask is like the iconic jaw piece thing. He then looks at his own statue and remembers his talk with Aizawa right before the war, when Aizawa said that just by being alive he is already helping many people, but then he himself says that he can't do anything for his suffering disciple and that he's just holding everyone back. This is when Stain appears, pointing his sword at All Might and saying that these words are an insult to a great hero. So yeah, this is it. Finally, Stain is meeting All Might. And I'm just so beyond excited for this meeting. Like when I first saw the leaks on Twitter, it was just like an instant hit of euphoria. Like I've been looking forward to this for so long, since essentially I started following the series because, you know, it's kind of set up in season 2. And that being said, it took quite a while to get here, but better late than never. And it actually kind of works out maybe even better this way. I mean, of course I would have liked for Stain to have met All Might before he was completely nerfed, but this makes it just as compelling, I think. And aside from season 2, it was also set up a few times in the story, like specifically with Tsukauchi trying to set up this meeting between All Might and Stain, but it like fell through, and also that portion of the manga was removed from the anime for some reason, as well as us seeing Stain in Tartarus when All for One is locked up. Not really sure about that, but given the way that season 5 has been chopped up, I'm continuing to see Bones' questionable decisions. But aside from all of that, we have been waiting for All Might to be touched on again in the story, because like a couple chapters back he had that falling out with Izuku, and it was revealed that Stain was like behind that wall near Stain, who we've been very interested in since he broke out of Tartarus, someone we haven't seen in action since season 2. So this is like all significant stuff, but I haven't read the rest of this summary or the translations yet because I wanted to save myself for this video, so we're going to be experiencing this together. All Might recognizes Stain and says that he couldn't talk to him on Tartarus as he wanted, but Stain doesn't know what he's talking about. All Might then realizes that he must not know about his thin form and introduces himself. Stain says that he is lying. All Might transforms briefly to prove it, but Stain continues to doubt. So yeah, in this instance we see like All Might go into his muscular form for like a second, then like reverts out of it. He says that he is an imposter and asks why he came to the Holy Land of a hero to lie and dirty his name. All Might then says that maybe he was always lying, that he created an image for himself because he couldn't stand to see the injustices around him anymore. He says that the current state of the country, totally destroyed, is the end result of his efforts. He says that even though he put his life on the line, he couldn't help his disciple, and after that, he didn't even have the courage to talk to him at UA. He remembers the scene of the civilians handing the umbrellas to the students. Stain then jumps towards All Might as if he was going to attack him, but then actually pulls him out of the front of the statue because he saw a woman coming. They both hide, and he tells All Might to watch. This woman is the one All Might saved in Kamino, who was trapped in the rubble of the building. She takes off the sign that says, "I am not here," starts to clean the statue. Stain says that what defined All Might was his smile and his courage, not his power, and that this is the only version of All Might he can accept. He says that the current state is not the end result of his efforts at all. They are still the middle part of a process. He says that the embers left by All Might have not been blown out by even the strongest of winds, and have been passed on to a group of people who have turned them into a huge fire that continues to grow. All Might begins to cry as he watches the lady. Stain says that he is unable to recognize All Might in that person right now, but if he really is the true hero he so admires, he should use the information Stain obtained on Tartarus and kill him, putting an end to the hero killer. He throws a knife on the ground near All Might, containing a piece of paper with information he talked about. He finishes by saying that this is all for the sake of a more just society, and All Might is still crying. The girl looks at the sky and realizes that the rain is stopping. End of chapter. So that was not what I expected. In my previous videos, coming into this, I had talked about how Stain wasn't exactly aware of All Might's true form, his thin form. And I was curious to how he was going to react to that, and I thought maybe he'd ridicule All Might or something, but I didn't even take into consideration that he wouldn't even recognize him and would actually not believe him, not even believing his claims that he is him. I mean, towards the end of this, I guess it's implied that Stain eventually does believe that he is All Might, but he ultimately just can't accept. And also, this is a very different Stain than what we're used to. This is probably the most grounded Stain has ever been, right? I mean, granted, when we did see him in the story, he was at, the peak of his unhingedness. But now in this more intimate, personal moment, we're seeing another side of Stain, which isn't like this psychotic All Might zealot. Like somewhere deep down, there's like a real hero there, but he's obviously a foobar at this point. And I like the nod to him like saying that you should just kill me now, throwing the knife on the ground, because it goes back to one of his iconic sayings, which is like, only All Might can kill me, only the true hero All Might is allowed to kill me. And also I like the lady civilian coming back into play, cleaning up the statue, because All Might saving her Kamino obviously had a huge impact on her life, so her like cleaning up the statue is like the least she could do for this like godlike figure who saved her. And also just, adds that deeper layer of continuity to the world, which fleshes out even more than it already was. But yeah, that was the All Might and Stain meeting, and it seems like this might be the end of it. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be the end of Stain, but maybe the end of their like one-on-one confrontation possibly. And it's good. I mean, I obviously haven't read the full chapter yet, just going off of the summary and some panels, but definitely not what I was expecting. And honestly, I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe something more definitive than this, maybe something more straightforward. But again, this is good too. And it's different, not in a bad way. It's good to subvert expectations sometimes, as long as it doesn't, ruin the product. So at this point, I guess the next big meeting will be Stain and Izuku. Hopefully we'll have that reunion there. Or maybe all three of them, All Might, Izuku, and Stain will all have a little conversation maybe. But considering that, the way that Stain's temperament is in this chapter, I could see him, for sure being a future ally or pseudo ally to the heroes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. If you liked the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.